Well, Miles, thanks for sitting down and chatting with us on Wanderers TV. A few days out from your next game now, another game on the road against Morecambe, but as always, we'll take a look back to Haslingden, a 5-0 win. Are you still feeling the same as what you were feeling post-game about it being a good team performance?
Yeah, I think it definitely was a good team performance. I think I said it straight after the game. I think any team that you come up against that puts 10, 11 players behind the ball, to score that amount of goals is a difficult thing to do. Sometimes to score one goal is a difficult thing to do against those teams. So to score 5 and do it in the manner we did, there was some great goals, and we was on fire that day, and it's good to start building performances at this stage in the season when you really need them at this business end. And
you mentioned in your post-match interview on Sunday about teams now sitting in, and it's been a bit of a different approach the last few months from teams when they do come up against your side. Is that having any impact on the way you approach games, the way you impact training with the players? Has that changed in your kind of approach?
Yeah, it's got to. At the start of this year, a lot more teams were coming after us and trying to put pressure on us, trying to get a little bit higher up the pitch. And since the turn of probably the new year, teams have taken a different approach in the sense of, as you said, trying to be a little bit more compact and in shape. And obviously we have to work on trying to break that down in training and getting ready for the game that we come up against. But yeah, look, the way that we like to play anyway, we like to play with the ball in the opposition half as much as we can, and teams that sit low against us, make it difficult, but it means that we're able to get in their half, and we always say to the team, it's like trying to break down a brick wall in a sense. You just have to keep working and keep attack after attack after attack, and hopefully at some stage you slip through, and thankfully so far we have managed to do that. But yeah, I think it depends who you ask. I think the forward players like it, and the defender players probably want a little bit more to do. But look, we're happy just to get results, and that's what's important at this stage.
And selection-wise, we half joked on Sunday that Sunday's performance probably made it even harder. Has training been the same in terms of the intensity and people wanting to get into these starting shirts now?
Yeah, it has. It has. We've had a few players away recently, and we've had a few with a few knocks and things like that. But look, it's really hard at the moment. We had a different lineup in Blackpool for the Blackpool game, and we was looking at a few different things. And since then, it's sort of raised a lot of questions rather than giving us answers for our future lineups. But every time we choose a team, one factor that goes into it is the opposition that we play. So we feel as a group of staff that some players are better suited to some games as a way that we want to play. And the past couple of games we've played against teams that are low block and do sit in their half, and it's meant that we have put players in that haven't played as much minutes as some others all season. It's certainly not to do with other players dipping in performance or not training well or anything like that. It's a case of we're making tactical changes per game that we play. And it'll be the same for this weekend. There'll be some players that come in that we think are better suited to this game. But of course, performances from players always have to be there, and that goes in training and in games. So we look at numerous factors, as well as freshness and readiness, all the rest of it. But at the minute, it's a real headache. It's a real tough team selection to choose. 16 and 11's even harder. And
on the topic of selection, almost obviously Ocean came in a couple of weeks back. Just where are we at with her and her level of match fitness almost?
Yeah, so I think, look, people are probably wondering where she's at in terms of the lineup and the squad. But just like any player that comes in at this stage of the season, especially, they've got work to do. Ocean can't come in and jump in straight away. She has to understand what we need from her. She has to understand her role, her responsibility. She's got a little bit of work to do physically on that side of things. And look, when we think she's ready, then we'll put her in. But she knows, and we know that there's a bit more work to go. And again, there's a lot of players at the moment that are performing well. So it's not just a case of Ocean's fit and ready and she comes straight in. She's got work to do to try and take someone's position. But she's progressing well. She's progressing well in training. We're pleased with what we see at the moment. She's been working closely with Ash, who's doing an incredible job with her, and they're working nicely together. But her mindset has been superb since coming in. She's desperate to get on that pitch. She's desperate to play. We have a few games coming up where she really wants to be involved, and let's see if she is or not.
4 games to go in the league, and obviously the cup final. 3 wins will probably seal it will seal what we've been aiming for all season. How do you approach this now with this group of players? Because everyone, they know the noise, they know the situation themselves. Is it take it, as the old saying goes, one game at a time?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there 3 wins. That there's no point of thinking about the latter 2 games until we win this first one this weekend, hopefully. If we don't do that, then we have to things change, and we have to do different things in the next 3 games coming up, or the next 2 coming up. So it's one game at a time. We have to go to Morecambe this weekend, which is not an easy place to go. We have to go there and we have to get a result. And then we've got a trip to Penrith, which again, we're hoping for a result. And then we can focus on the first of all, the cup final, but then the league game against Accrington Stanley. So it has been all season, one game at a time, and that's what we'll continue to do. There's no getting away from. We have this game this weekend, and then they have 3 very tough games coming up. One obviously at the stadium, which everyone's looking forward to. But yeah, one game at a time, and that's what we've done all season. That's what we'll continue to do.
And before we touch on the stadium game, you've just mentioned yourself, Morecambe this weekend. What are you expecting from them?
Yeah, Morecambe's a difficult place to go. Look, they're a team that they're just above water at the moment, but they can easily go down. So similar to when we faced a Blackpool or some teams lower in the division, that again, I've mentioned it before, it's that stage of the season that they need points, they want points, and we have to be aware of that. We can't get complacent against this team. They played yet last night against Preston and got a little bit of a thumping from that game, and they'll be looking to react straight off the back of that. So we have to make sure that we're ready for that. But look, they can approach the game in a few different ways. So we've sort of analysed it, and Owen's done a great job as he always does. And we'll be there and hopefully prepared for what they do. And if they do something different, then the team will react and use the experience like they've done all season. And
lastly, to finish on a really positive note, we've mentioned the stadium game. Our final game of the season will take place here at the Tough Sheet Community Stadium against Preston North End. Just how big of a moment is that for this team, and it's almost deserving for their efforts they've put in this year as well. Yeah,
I mean, looking at it now, look, the stadium is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. One of the first things that I spoke to the CEO and the management team when I arrived is that one thing we should do this year is to try and get a game at this stadium. And everybody at the club has been so supportive of this women's team all year. From Sharon to Phil to everybody else who's worked extremely hard to get this stadium game on for the women's, and it's the first time that they would have played here. It's a bit of history on our journey that we're on, and look, hopefully there's many more moments where we can continue to do things like this and make this club proud, and hopefully on the day we're able to get a good result for the team and potentially do what we set out to achieve right from day one, and make this club and this town happy, and make them be proud of what this women's team has achieved. But listen, similar to the final, nobody's trying to think about it just yet, although how great of occasion it is. We've got a game this Sunday to focus on first, and as we get closer to this, I'm sure people will get a little bit more excited.